You know, Genshin Impact has a wide variety of characters and teams and stuff like that, and people have always just like said like, oh, Mavuika, yeah, she's the #1 DPS. You know, I won't lie, she has changed the meta, you know, when she was first released and stuff like that. But I would like to argue that she is not the #1 DPS and she is the biggest fraud on earth. Now, before we get into Mavuika, I want to talk about Shilonen. And why, before we talk about how Mavuika is a fraud, I want to talk about how Shilonen is a fraud. And how she's worse than Sucrose.
Yes.
Now, I do have C6 Sucrose, but through testing, I have always found a DPS loss by using Shilonen instead of C6 Sucrose. And the DPS loss is always at least minimum 10% or more. And I will show you proof of that as well. Now I will be using this DPS tester because you can't change any of the stats or anything, so you can't say I'm cheating. By the way, I will show you all the stats of my characters by the end. So first I'm going to try this with Shilonen and I'll show you, in fact I'll do 2 cases, right? Because there's a new Mavuika combo out. So I'll do 1 case of just normal, like trying to melt, stuff like that. And then like just holding down the charge attack, and then 1 with the combo. I'll try the Mavuika combo here. You can decide whether I'm doing it right or not. In fact, I lost DPS. I don't know if I did it right or not. At the start, I probably didn't, but you know, 1.7 mil in about 20 seconds. $215, 178. I'll just finish off the skill. About 1.78 mil in around 20-ish seconds, right? Now I'm gonna do it with Sucrose. You know, as you can see, even if I did it mediocrely, I still did more DPS than using the melts correctly without the combo, which I can't really do that well. Now I'll just do the normal melt. 238, 180, 156. Oh, that didn't crit. But yeah. So you can see, almost reached 2 million, just under 2 million in about 22-ish seconds. You know, I think that's enough proof of why Shilonen is a bigger fraud. Now, C6 Sucrose, I won't lie, maybe without the C6, Sucrose is worse than Shilonen, but the difference is like, you know, like it's not that much. Now I'm gonna show you all my other teams, right? I'm gonna show you all my other teams. Now here I have Veresa's Premium. I do have C6 Yansa and C6 Chebrus, which will definitely benefit Veresa a lot here. Now this is extremely dependent on if I get the right Witches version or not. I think here I got the elemental damage bonus. But yeah, she can do 2 million in about 20 seconds with a level 80 Witches. That's R2, I think, if I can remember correctly. But yeah, you know, that's the average as well. Now, for the sake of this showcase, I do have Varessa's best in slot. However, I did use the Witches. With Varessa's best in slot, she still did 2.6 mil average in 20 seconds. You know, here I got the Flynn's Premium. I'll show you this. I don't really have Inefa completely min-maxed, so this might not be an accurate representation, but is what it is. I just have to hold my Flynn's doesn't not crit. Oh, he didn't hit there. But it still hit well over 2 mil. Well over 2 mil. Even if he did crit, that would have been over 2.3 mil within like 23 seconds, you know? I would like to showcase who I think is very much better than Mavuika. Now, as you can see, I do not have Skirk's premium team. I only have Sid, Lali, and Farina, and Dahlia. There is not a single resistance shred of Cryo in this team at all. While all the other teams of Flynn's, Versa, and Mavuika have so much resistance shred, attack buffs, and I have like, you know, their premium teams, and you know, I have, you know what I mean. And you know, I would just like to show you, you know, I'll just let it speak for itself. I'll just let it speak for yourself. You know, to make it fair, I did build skirks all. I mean, that's what I did with the other ones I And look at that. Almost 2 million in 20 seconds. Now, if I only did the skill, sure, you could say that, oh, I'd probably only do 1.5 mil with the skill. But like, you know, I'm missing Shanha and Escoffier, which is in total a 15% attack damage buff, or normal attack damage buff, and approximately 70% resistance shred as well. Meanwhile, this showcase has 0 resistance shred, and she still did more damage than Mavuika. Well, as much damage, at least as much damage with the premium. I'll showcase all the builds here now. I do, on Mavuika, I do have an EM Sands. However, like, I have tried with an attack Sands before, and you know, it just never did more damage, because all of Mavuika's damage is in the melts. So yeah, it's where I keep that God tier Sands on. Veressa, yeah, I have her best in slot, so like, yeah, well, I mean, she's the main DPS that I got the earliest, so I wouldn't really say she's as min-maxed as all the other ones, you know. Like, I could get more ER, I could get a bit more crit on her, a bit more crit damage. Skirk, I have min-maxed quite well, in my opinion. I have the Battle Pass open. Yeah, I do have, I forgot to say, I was free to play. I'm a little bit not free to play. The most I've done is buy Welkins and battle passes. I do have Skirk's weapon at R3, you know, that can be an argument, but then again, like, you know, still missing in Scoffy and Shanha. And like, yeah, Flynn's, you know, I built him decently well, you know, I mean, he could 100% use a bit more crit rate. And I'll just showcase a bunch of screenshots of all the supports as well. Now I don't have C6 Bennett. I know that's a big damage like boost I'm missing. Then again, you can make the argument that like I don't have C6 Dahlia either, which is even more attack speed, you know. You know, there is a lot of deciding factors in like who's the best DPS, you know, like who's better, you know, but like I think this is enough proof. I really do think this is enough proof as to why, like, people swear to you that Mavuika has always been the #1 without a single doubt. Yeah, I've just shown you proof how close it really is. Like, my Flynn's hitting 2.1 mil, Veressa hit around the same with Sith. But like, you know, people barely put Veressa in the top 5 before, when I'd definitely put Veressa like above Mavuika without a doubt. Like, I would 100% put Veressa over Mavuika. I mean, sure, I have C6 Temperus genuinely gives so much, you know, 40% attack, 40% resistance shed, and what, I think it's a total 60% elemental damage boost, and that's not counting the artifact set, you know, like, but then again, like, Mavuika is gonna be very inconsistent purely because like almost all of her damage is based off of melts, but Veressa is extremely consistent, like extremely. You know, Flynn's is a bit different because like Flynn's is like what, 60-70% of the total damage, with an FR being a big majority of it. Like, I'm pretty sure in the showcase I did, Flynn's did around 1.2, 1.3 mil, while NFR did like what, 700k or some shit. Like, yeah, but I still, like, you know, it is, you know, Flynn's is a lot different compared in like terms of like main DPSs. But he still did 2.2 mil, like in just over 20 seconds, while Mavuika barely reached 1.9. Now, Skirk, right? I love Skirk. She genuinely did save my account, you know, and she in terms of playstyle, she is definitely, well, in terms of kit, she's definitely a lot different. She genuinely seems like a Zenless character or whatever, you know what I mean. But like, there's different stuff, like considering her damage, like because you can't really just like always, you can't always use skill. There's a new combo that's like a variant of like 2 normal attacks and then dashing, stuff like that. However, all in all, at the end of the day, the only premium team I do not have is Skirk, and yet she is still keeping up with all the other DPSs I have, who are all arguably top 5. You know, 2 million without without 2 characters from the premium team. Like, if that's not crazy, then I don't know what is. Like, you know, I will argue, what's it called? I would say maybe C6 is a lot different, because I have looked at constellations. Mavuika's constellations definitely look stronger than Skirk's without a doubt, especially considering C2 Shilonen. Like, C2 fucking Shilonen is kind of crazy, even though she is a fraud at C0. But yeah, like, fucking Skirk solos. I'm tired of all these agenda pushes. I've given proof as to why Mavuika is not strongest. Realistically, like, if I had to pick a top 5, you know, I mean, I don't have all the characters. Like, I don't know nothing about Zibai, so I'm not gonna include her yet. But I would 100% put either Nefer or Skirk as number 1. Number 3 is probably Flynn's. Number 4 Faresa. Number 5 Mavuika. Like, that's how I would do it at least. I mean, maybe more Lani somewhere, but I don't really know about that.